It's interesting to do that within an hour of time. So I'm just move a little bit. I'll be moving around. Can't see Tiffany so well. So reaching the arms up, interlace fingers and press palms up. Yoga for humanity. And lengthen your spine. Get all the length you can get. And then arms come out to the sides, hands are behind the back, interlace fingers, squeeze shoulder blades together, and look up, jutting your chin upward and then chin down. And look up again. And then from here, a side bend movement. So we can go left or right, arm comes up and extend. Quite a few of you on there, hello. And creating space from your hip over to your fingertip, this whole side of your body lengthening. And then we'll do that the other way, reaching up and over. And again, from hip to fingertips, extending. Lateral stretch. Diane, that should feel pretty good, huh? So good. Do you feel it came in, feel a little tight? Yep. All right, so we're going to just stretch the legs out and then grab hold of one foot. So if this bothers your back, you can always come onto your back and do the same thing when lying down. Or if you're sitting, you're going to try to take your foot to the crook of the arm, and then you're holding, it's like it's a baby, you're rocking the baby, you're holding the baby's head. There you go. And just, trying to take the child close in and breathe. Yeah, there you go. So that little rocking action helps you to loosen the hip joints. All right, and then this leg that's up is going to come down and you're going to twist in that direction. So if it's your right knee bent, you turn right. If it's your left, you turn left. And keeping both sitting bones down as you twist. See if you can elongate the spine, looking back. Yeah. We'll try to both sits bones down. Moving from the navel, moving from your ribs, your sternum, collarbones, and then release, and we'll stretch out the legs. So we have the other side. Again, so you're gonna hold the foot. If you can, you're gonna try to take the foot to the crook of the arm. You got it. And then you rock. So it's the twin, but it could be a fraternal twin. It doesn't have to be identical twin. Usually it's not. All right. Anyone here a twin? I have twin sisters-in-law, and they're fraternal twins, but they look very much alike, and they have the same voice. And they sing together. They sing harmonies. They have the same voice. And when we're all together, and I'll say, "How could Karen just be? How could she be right behind me? I just saw her leave the room." You know, it's crazy. So here we go. We have the fraternal twin here for sure for me. All right, and then bring the foot down and extend and twist. See if you can elongate, because you need space to twist safely. Meanwhile, your straight leg is active. And one more breath here, inhale and exhale, deepen, and then we release. Good. So we're going to come onto our backs, and I'll talk us through on this one. We come onto our backs. It's all kind of warm-ups for how we'll work today. So you're going to take your right leg up in the air, and I know most people want to, most people want to grab hold of a strap, but I'm going to try not to use a strap on this. The way we work doesn't require a strap. Your arms are at a T position, and you're flexing your right ankle. Take a deep breath in, exhale. Straight leg is going to come across, right leg coming across to the left. Now you're going to have your foot hover above the floor. Turn your head to the right. Try to get your right shoulder down. So that might determine how far you bring your leg over. But we're trying to have like an L shape with the legs. Right heel as high as right hip. Turning your head to the right. And then back to center. So we're doing that 3 more times, same leg. Breath in, exhale, come across. Again, you know you're doing this really well when your outside left foot is touching the floor. Yeah. Oh. And then back to center, 2 more. Exhale, come across, finish out the breath. Sometimes you need a few extra rounds of breath. And then back to center. And last one, move across. And then back to center. We're going to hold, grab hold of the knee, and then lift your head. Bring your head to your knee. Maybe you can hold your shin bone, or you can hold your foot. Both hands holding the right foot. And then release, and we'll take it the other direction. So your left leg is up in the air, and just take a moment. I know sometimes we're so tight, it can't straighten the legs. If you can straighten. Flexing the ankle and as best we can, trying to avoid using the strap. And then exhale and taking your left leg over to the right. You're rolling onto your outside right hip, head turning to the left. And then come back to center. Take a deep breath in, exhale, come across. So the way I learned this simple movement is that this is great for athletic bodies, for bodies who are very strong, because it uses your strength to access flexibility. Come back to center. 2 more. Exhale, come across. Remember to turn your head away from the extended leg, the leg coming across. Back to center. Last one coming up. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then back to the center. So now we're going to hug the knee into chest. Lift your head, bring your head to knee, and reach for your ankle, your foot. And go. And release, extending your legs. Good job. So we're coming to bridge, and then we'll work bridge a little differently as well. So your elbows are bent. And your hands are in the air, palms are facing each other. So when you press up, you're using the back of your body to come up. You're using your arms, your upper arms. You could tuck your shoulders in a little bit, but you're not clasping your hands just yet. And then you lower. So let's focus on glutes. So you're going to press up again. It's kind of like power muscles here, and you press up high, stretching the front of your body, but really using your hamstrings and glutes, and then come down. And last one, inhale, come up, and it's up to you. You can keep your arms as they are, or clasp hands behind the back, tuck shoulders underneath you, and lift and breathe. And then we release, and as we come out, we come into happy baby. So grabbing hold of your feet and stretching your lower back. Some like to rock, some like to stay center, and nice deep breath in and exhale. All right, and then we release. So let's go ahead and grab hold of a block. So third chakra comes later as you're standing, but I think we should do some while we're still on our backs here. We'll start out with the block is at the knees. And again, I think of these as foundation poses. Your feet are on the floor. The block is at the knees. And when you exhale, you're going to do a pelvic tilt. Pretty easy. There's 3 actions going on. You press your lumbar into the mat. There's 4 actions. You're exhaling, squeezing into the block, tightening pelvic floor muscles, pressing your back down. And so do that on your own. You inhale, you let go, and then you exhale and you tighten. You think of 4 aspects: breath, squeezing block, tightening pelvic floor muscles, and abdominals. Inhale, release. Do 3 more on your own. And just to make sure you're not tensing your neck, your hands can come under your head. So for many, that's kind of it, that could be really easy. So if you want to go deeper, now you're going to lift your feet up off the mat and press your back down into the mat. You can have your hands holding the edges of your mat, or your hands can be up in the air. Exhale, press your back down, squeeze into the block, tighten your pelvic floor muscles. Inhale, letting go. Exhale, squeeze. So it's hard. Like if I'm looking, I'm not going to really see the inner workings of what you're doing, that you know what they are. Exhale, press, squeeze. Good. And then as you're continuing to squeeze, go ahead and lift your head, hands holding the back of your head. Lift and engage, and then release. And the counter pose is sweet. Soles of the feet are together. Outside feet resting to the floor, bound angle, and hands onto the belly. When you inhale, let your belly soften, expand. Your neck should be free. And then we can interlace fingers and press palms up overhead. So the upper body is active, lower body receptive. Right, and then releasing. So we're going to come up to sitting. So usually, I think like in the West, we're very linear. We're linear thinkers, and we think, well, shouldn't we have started with first chakra? We started with third chakra, power chakra. But I think you need the strength for the various poses that we'll get into. So now you're bending your knees, and as you bend your knees up, oh yeah, you can also have a block. You're bending your knees and then squeezing into the block and coming back. So I could round, or I could try to keep my back a little more upright. Back, and then up and extending your arms, and then exhale back. Okay. Squeezing in, and then inhale, and reaching up. We'll do last one. Exhaling back. And reaching up. Hands are behind you. And you push your feet into the mat, push your hands into the mat, make a tabletop out of your body, a reverse table here. And you're tilting your head. We call it reverse tabletop, but it sure looks like a tabletop. And then lowering. Now we have our boat. So what you could do is for Navasana, it's a good summer one, isn't it? Boat. So you could just be holding straight leg or not holding with knees bent or legs straightened. So take a breath in for both. We'll exhale through the mouth. AHA sound good. Breathe in. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Okay, good job. I know that's so intense. Okay. And let's go ahead and come right to child's pose. And you might want something under your knees. Come to child's pose. Stretching out your back. And the knees could be close together. They could be a little wide. I tend to have mine wider than closer in. And then we'll start with we're going to go back and forth here. So you're going from child's pose to upward facing dog. Good. And then back, extending, and arching. Find a rhythm that works for you. You're exhaling as you go back and inhaling as you come forward. Let's say there's 2 more. And then from here, we'll go to downward facing dog. So your hands are spread wide on your mat and you come back and then you start to pedal. Bend one knee and press opposite heel down, back and forth. So you're really taking your time. When you bend your right knee, you take a moment to push the left heel down and so there's a little lingering as you stretch. All right. And then, I like to always have the feet wide and then you walk back and you're at the back end of your mat. Hands are to elbows and take a moment to stretch. So as you're in your forward bend, what I like to say in a chakra class is that, 7 chakras, there's a category of movement or breath for each one. Hard to do in a short amount of time, but what's fascinating is that there's a category of poses that helps you to connect to an area that has qualities. You'll see different qualities that we strive for to either attain or to move away from. You'll see what I mean. Let's bend the knees, come on up, and swing the arms up, extending, palms are reaching, and then hands are to heart center. So we have balance. That's first chakra. See, so I tried to do a little bit of core work ahead of time. And then you've got bars and walls to hang on to. So we're gonna start out with, so just so you can see it, it's tree and then it's eagle. Okay, those are the 2. We'll bundle them up. So your tree could be what I call a kickstand tree, where you're just kind of working at balance, or you're able to bring your foot up fairly high. Hands are to heart center and arms up. And so very traditional, palms are together, but I think we like to imitate the branches of a tree with our arms and breathe. The tree, very appropriate for the first day of summer. The deciduous trees, the leaves are all, they're out, they're green. They're happy from like a whole season of rain here in Seattle. Cooler weather. All right. So have your arms out to a T and then take this leg that was up and then just wrap. And then once you've wrapped, that's my right leg that wrapped, then the opposite arm, then my left arm will be on top. And hold and breathe. And then release and come on out. Yeah, okay. So then we have our second side. So we've got the left leg for me. Left leg is starting to come up in tree. So first chakra is the element earth. And all these elements, of course, we're made up of these elements. So we are of the earth, right? We have elements of earth inside of us. Just like the tree, we root. We connect. This is about connecting to nature, to the natural world, connecting to home, and being at home, wherever you're at, being at home. It's also about overcoming fears. It's one of the basic chakras, basic. So you could say to survival. Breathing in. Now the arms are out to a T, and you're going to start to bend your standing leg so it's easier to wrap your left leg over the other, and then your right arm over the other, and breathe. Release. And two beautiful summary images, a tree and an eagle. All right. And then now we move on to something else. We're going to do dancer and half moon, which is, you know, again, like, this early on. So you do know you could be at a wall, and then you can also have a block handy for, so you're facing front end of your mat, grabbing hold of the foot. And your dancer could be as simple as like holding and having your hand forward. Or you could also start to kick your leg back and reach forward and breathe. One more breath and dance. Inhale. And I always say, if you just got it, you can hold it a little longer, but if you can, you let go, and then you reach for your block or for the mat. And on this one, you could always be against a wall. So you have one hand, one foot down, one arm, one leg up in the air. And flex the ankle of the leg up in the air and breathe. Going to start to come out, and the counter pose is a squat. So as you're coming into your squat, you know, you can always modify the squat, or maybe you're okay coming down if possible. The heels are down, and breathe. Yeah, it's kind of like springing that one on you, right? Already, first half hour of session. Okay. Come on up, and we have the other side. So if you use the block, you know, have it handy. And I'm reaching for my left foot. So again, sometimes it's just a matter of being, you know, your dancer is upright. Yeah, you can flip around and use the mirror. Yeah. She's flipping around. It's more for the half. Yeah. And then as you're here, you're kicking the leg back. And then bending your standing leg and bringing your hand down and going into another pose there. Sorry. If you just got it, you hold a little longer, and then if not, so you have to kind of let go slowly so you don't go springing out of it, and then you go into your half moon. So you're opening, you've got one hip over the other, leg up in the air, ankle is flexed, and breathe. Yeah. Balance when the connection isn't there. It's like sending your roots down. Okay, come on up. And then we'll come to our squat, dropping down into the squat and stretch and breathe. So from here, go ahead and come on up, and we move into hip area, like hip joints. And again, I don't usually do it linearly. Today I am. So it might just feel a little odd, but here's what I would like to do. When you think of hip in yoga, we think of hamstrings, you think of inner thighs, outer hip. So we're going to actually start out with pyramid, and Gio is online, and she's like, yes, okay, Parsvottanasana. We say pyramid, but I mean, it's not, it doesn't translate to pyramid, but it sort of reminds you of that. So your pelvis is squared to the front of your mat. Your hands, yeah, they can be behind you. This is going to be by far the easiest to clasp hands, or you're going to have hands to your heart. But maybe you can bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, which is hands in prayer behind your back. And then you look up. So mostly this is going to be mostly about, right now it's about an arch. But then when you start coming forward, it's going to be your right hamstring stretch. Now, to stretch safely, tighten up or engage. Engage is better to say. Engaging your right front thigh. And then you could pause at the halfway point. Your hands are still behind your back, or you can bring your head towards your knees. So there's a lot of balance involved as well. Eyes are open, gaze is to your back leg. If you lower your head. And then you straighten your legs again, your spine rather. And then your hands either on the full-on height of the block. You have 3 heights to work with. Or the hands are down. It could be fingers down or palms down. So I kind of like the blocks because it helps me to elongate my back, helps me to extend and take away the rounding. No, this is good. This is good. There's a way, like the body has all these little tricks, like, oh, I'll make it easier by shifting my hip forward. So you're trying to not give into that. You're trying to square your hip. Look at your right foot. The ball of the foot is down, not up. Heel down, ball of the foot down. Take another breath here. And then optional is to walk your hands to the outside right foot. So now you're starting to get more of a left side stretch. I'm going to save twists for later. So now you come back and your hands to be on your low back and you press up and come forward. And the legs feel very different with each other, breathing in. And then we have a second side. So left foot is forward, pelvis is squared. It really wants to open out, pelvis squared. You decide, clasping hands, or are you able to take your hands into Anjali Mudra? Hands pressing together in prayer behind the back. So the first part, when you look up, your hands should tell you, oh yeah, you're moving from the upper back. Lifting your heart. And then engage your core so you don't strain your back. Engage the front of your thigh, the quads, so you don't strain your hamstrings as you come forward. You could pause at the halfway point or lower your head to your knee. I'll never forget when Ricardo was teaching. I was in one of his classes. I took the class and he said, chin to shin. And I looked at him and indeed he had his chin to his shin. Wow. And then let's release the hands and you decide you want your blocks or not. And then you could start to walk your hands to the outside left foot. And all the while, whatever you can do to stretch the right side of your body. Good. And then back to center. And we'll go ahead and make our way up to standing. Okay. And step forward. And then as your hands are to heart center. You're going to reach the arms up, arch back, elongating in front of your back and in front of your spine, and then you come forward. And from here, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So you're going to step on that. Now, it might be that you come into pigeon and some don't. Okay, so if you need to modify, at this point, you come onto your back and you thread the needle. If you can, your right leg comes up and your right knee comes forward. And I'll show the other one because I know not everyone does this. Here, others are here. Yeah, Julie said, wow, was that you, Julie?
I was looking at my neighbor.
Oh, cool.
She's really got it.
So we're still on second chakra. This is what we call this. I love the nickname in yoga. It's the storage depot of the emotions. So they're all stored right here, nicely packed, tight. all the unprocessed emotions stored in the hip joints. So hip joints kind of represent an area of learning to express oneself, learning to sort through, right? Learning to express emotions, deal with all of the myriad of emotions within. Water is the element. All right, so let's go ahead and start to press up, and that might be it for you, or maybe you could curl back toes under, lift the knee, and then bend your knee, and then it's a quad stretch for you. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll go back, straightening out the leg, and those of you on your backs, easier transition for you. You switch sides, and then if you can, from downward facing dog, left leg up in the air, swinging up high, and then left knee comes forward at an angle. There we are. Looking upward and lowering. So I do find, those of you in pigeon, I really find curling back toes under and lifting the knee helps me to push out a little more, so I'm on a more comfortable part of my knee. And one more breath here. Inhale, exhale, and start to press and lift. And again, you could bend your back knee, stretching your quads. And then from here, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So if you were lying on your back, we're going to be on our bellies. So we're going to be coming right onto the bellies. And then the reason being that we can work our quads from here. So you can draw one heel in. If you're super tight, you have to come on your side. That's the safest way. Or you're on your belly, and you can do one at a time, or you do both. Okay, so heels towards belly. And then if you're doing one at a time, you would switch. But if you're doing both, you could hold, maybe you're holding at the foot or going a little lower towards the ankle, and maybe you can kick back. So here you're still into quads, which would be second chakra, but when you start opening up in bow like this, rocking a little bit, then you've got heart center, heart chakra. And then release. And when you release, lower your head. You can bring one hand over the other, resting your forehead. Breathe in. Exhale. So I am going to go out of sequence a little bit because we're right here and we're ready for like some cobras. So let's go ahead and have your hands alongside chest. If this is hard for you, cobras, you can be on your elbows, okay, in Sphinx. But if you can, you're pressing up. We're going to do 3 of them. Press up, You arch, and again, you can always keep your elbows slightly bent, and then lower. And inhale, press up. And lengthen. Good. And lower. Last one. Reaching up. Extend. And lower. And then we'll press back to child's pose and take a moment here. So we can also talk a little more about heart chakra. Fourth chakra. The fourth chakra is literally the word for wheel, and the wheel spins, producing energy. So ancient yogis believed that there were these spinning wheels at certain areas along your body, producing energy, whirring, and the whir of the heart, right? And so you might want, we're going towards camel, you might want something under your knees, because we go from child's pose now to arching. And the arching could be as simple as clasping hands behind your back. Heart chakra is air, the element air. And heart chakra is the place of love, compassion, kindness. Okay, so maybe next time you come up in this camel, you'll do a half camel, or you could raise your heels if you like. So you're going into your half camel. And if you're doing half camel, you do the other side, reaching up, stretching, lowering. Each time I lower, I extend my feet, touching down, and maybe you can reach for both raised heels. So see what is safe on your back. And we're going to do 2 more, wherever you're at. 2 more. And then from here, so we're going to come to coming back through downward facing dog, because that's our transition pose. And as you're here, just take a moment to, it is a forward fold, so that's nice. After all the back bending, it's a forward fold. But also just noticing all the space in your spine. And then we'll walk to the front of the mat. Have some warriors to move. Let me see. So we got our balance, we did some hip opening, we worked into our hearts, and we're going to come back to strength. Fire is third chakra. So we'll do warrior 1, 2, 3. So you're at the front end of your mat, and you're going to take your right foot back. Heel is down, so you could start out with heel up, so just to make sure your pelvis is squared, and then the heel comes down, pelvis still squared, 90-degree bend at your left knee, more or less, and the arms come up. And you look upward. So 2 ways. One is the arms are in a vertical line. I look up, I see my thumbnails. Or you reach the arms back and you arch your spine. And then from here, we open it out to Virabhadrasana 2. So this is the place of your strength, your unbelievable strength. Again, kind of that yoga for humanity, our resilience, our strength, physical, emotional, spiritual strength. And there'll be a warrior 3. So here's what I would say is take your back foot, bring it forward, and then step it back. Take your hands into place, and usually you interlace, you can have your palms flat or interlace fingers, keep thumbs, index fingers together. I'm gonna have my hands flat this time. and then engage your core. And you usually flex your back foot. So you, in a sense, you're making a T shape out of your body, and you're looking forward or down. And come up, and that's the element fire, and I think you know why. Okay. Hands are dark. Second side, so we're 1, 2, 3. So I really am keeping these kind of linear today. So you take your left foot back, and at first maybe the heel is up, so you can square your pelvis, and then take your heel down and reach your arms up. And then here, Virasana 2. So you adjust your feet. You usually go a little wider, and you're in a single track. Nice. And then you're looking past your right middle finger. Feeling the fire within you. Feeding Agni. Agni are digestive fires. And then we'll go ahead and step forward. At least that gets you facing the front of your mat. Then left foot steps back and arms are up. Now, you know, now I tell you the hands to heart is easier. Okay, arms out to a T, maybe even easier. Bend your knee, step into a warrior 3. And breathe. And then stepping the feet together and feeling the warrior that you are, strong enough to do warrior 1, 2, 3 beautifully, breathing it. Exhale. So we'll move back into the heart chakra, and we did back bending, arching, but there's some twists too. So right foot is forward, and you can have your left hand on a block or not as you have your first twist. So I mean the twist from this position. Right arm up into the air. We'll switch. You could walk switch or jump switch. You know, walk switch is kind of that easy switch, and then the jump switch you should jump and see how you want to work. And then one hand is down because there will be a few of them, and then you're twisting the opposite way now. Left arm is up in the air, and breathe. Release, and then there's another walk switch or jump switch. And this time it's prayer balance. So you could always have a knee down as you come into prayer balance, or your back knee is up as you hook your elbow across the knee. Yeah, good. Nice job. Back to heart chakra. And generally the poses for heart chakra also work throat chakra, at least the arching ones do. All right, release and walk switch or jump switch. Back knee up or down as your right arm comes across the left knee and twist. And then release and walk or jump switch. Walk this one. And this time you're gonna come up and it's, you can bend your knee if you need to. This is the last of these twists. Right foot is forward, left arm up in the air. So it's revolved triangle. And you might say, oh, I've got a big block, that's fine. Or maybe your hand's on a block and you're turning towards your straight right leg. So revolved, yep, and taking the arm up into the air. That's intense, I know, you're not alone in that, breathing in. Exhale. Release, and you have a second one. So we can walk switch, jump switch. I think I used up my jumps. Okay, so then once again, will you use your block or not? Do you have to bend your knee to save your hamstring or your back? I mean, that's, see what is possible, turn, twist, and then start to extend your left arm and breathe. And release, and then stand, come forward, and just take a moment to stand. We have some nice side bending, and all you're going to do, it's like a counter pose to that. One hand on pelvis, and you go left or right. You're gonna just reach, and then we'll do the other side, hand on pelvis and reach. And the other side, and reach. And again, reach. We have a shoulder stand cycle. So we're coming onto our backs, and here's what I say. Not everybody likes shoulder stand, in which case you take a block and you bring the block under your sacrum. You could always be at the wall, legs up the wall. That seems to work for some because maybe your neck doesn't like shoulder stand. Shoulder stand works throat chakra and mostly I would say kind of heart and throat. So if you can, you're pressing up into shoulder stand. So you lift, you take your elbows closer in, your feet are together. You're trying to get your body pretty straightened. And you don't want to look left or right in this. It's quite the stretch to the spine, to the neck. It's wonderful for the immune system. Endocrine glands benefit greatly from this pose. Lymph fluid moves. Great for the thyroid, right, Julie? Thyroid and parathyroid. So what I'm going to suggest is those of you in shoulder stand coming to plow, halasana. So your feet are reaching up overhead and in plow. But again, not everyone does that. So if you have a block under you, you could bring your hands to your knees or your shin bones and your arms are straight. And you have like, your arms are like a brace and very straight. And your legs are pushing against your hands. So that pressure is really nice. And then we're going to start coming out slowly. So if you're in plow, slow is the key word. Slowly come out. And when you come out, you bend your knees. You have your feet flat onto the mat. I'm sorry, in studio, the lights are really bright, so we just kind of close our eyes. And then you just take your head side, side, just move your head side, side. Like when you turn to the right, can your right ear graze the floor? Go left, can your left ear graze the mat? Mhm. And then it's all complemented, and we'll talk more about throat chakra by coming into fish pose. So fish pose, you could put a block under your back, you could roll a blanket under your back, or you could actually do the pose, which I'll do. Without a block. So I slip my hands under my pelvis. It looks a little bit like I'm doing bridge, but I'm not. My pelvis is down. My legs are straight, feet are together, toes are pointed like fish fins. Elbows push into the mat, tilt your head back, and then move back on your mat until the top of your head or some part of your head touches down. Eyes are open, mouth slightly open. You're breathing through your nose, so your tongue is against the roof of the mouth. Beautiful. And fish pose, it's like it's a trio of poses. Shoulder stand, plow, fish, and they all work together. They work the immune system, but also the throat chakra, the place of truth, speaking your truth, the place of speech, expression, words, ideas, thoughts. This is also air, the element of air associated with heart and throat. Go ahead and come out, release. And when you come out, anything that helps you to release, most likely it's, knees into chest. As you're here, you might have a little towel to put over your eyes. Our glasses are getting big. You're getting big here. This is your time to, in a sense, to explore the sixth chakra and the seventh chakra in a sense, because the sixth is the brow center. And that is, that's represented by, or it represents a new way of perceiving, a new way of seeing. And right now, seeing this precious moment. We have a new theme for our yoga for the year, Yoga for Humanity. A world that has felt a great disconnect, and now it's a time to reconnect. To embrace health. My parents had very poor health because of life, because of circumstances. Long story. There's a novel there. They had a really hard life, and despite that, they lived long lives. Or my father did. But they always said they didn't have opportunities to be educated, like, and so really important for them was to educate their children, and they didn't have um, the nutrition they needed, and et cetera, et cetera. And so what they always would say to us was, there are two things that no one can two things that you really want to hang on to that others, if you have in life, that are so important, that it's your health and your education. They always used to say that. And they did have a healthy lifestyle as best as they could, later when they were able to, when they had access to good food, The meditative quality of our movements in yoga help us to be strong of body, mind, and spirit. Help us to be healthy of body, mind, and spirit. So we'll just take this time, the remainder of this time, to observe the breathing. I hope to feel healthy and to reclaim health. If you've been on a rocky road, to reclaim your health or to celebrate your health. Going to start to deepen the breathing. Taking a moment to move hands and feet. And then just gradually starting to turn to one side and make your way to sitting.